Hey everybody, it is Knock Knock Neo here, back with another video. I know it's been a long time. Thank you for continuing to subscribe. I'm going back to the way I used to do my videos when I would post Reddit questions to see, if I can really help somebody out here. For those of you who are new here, once again, my name is Knock Knock Neo, and I am a self-mastery mentor. The reason why I call myself a mentor is because I am not quite a psychotherapist. I am not exactly a coach. I'm not exactly a counselor, but I am a little bit of everything. I've conquered a lot. Generational trauma, anxiety, depression, you name it, poor attachment styles, you name it, I've conquered it. And I've been there, and I pretty much have an answer to a lot of things, which I cannot say for psychotherapists, counselors, or coaches. I know they studied I know psychotherapists study psychology. I don't know if they've ever been depressed to know how to really guide it. Anyways, I'm getting off topic here. So let me just get to this question. Oh, also, my website is selfmasteryprotocol.ca. I'll put it in the description if you ever want to check out my articles that show you how to heal certain things, mostly anxiety, trauma, depression, and how to become a master of yourself. Okay, so here is the Reddit post for today. I don't recognize myself at work anymore, and it's starting to scare me. I used to feel pretty confident in my job, not the loudest person in the room, but I could speak up, throw out ideas, crack jokes, and genuinely feel like I belonged there. Now, everything I say feels rehearsed and awkward. I literally practice sentences in my head before I say them, even normal everyday stuff. Nothing comes naturally anymore. Meetings are brutal. If there's an awkward silence, I'm convinced it's somehow my fault. If I don't say something smart or valuable, I spiral. I've become obsessed with proving I'm competent, useful, likable. And when I don't get that validation, my confidence tanks completely. I know depression is part of this, and I'm not blind to that, but what really gets me is how much it feels like it's erased my entire work identity. I honestly have no idea what I'm even good at anymore. I don't know what motivates me or if I even like the path I'm on. My whole sense of worth now basically depends on external validation. A compliment from my manager, a nice Slack reaction, someone saying good job in a meeting. That's not there, I just crash. So I've started pulling back. I avoid work conversations unless absolutely necessary. I've stopped networking. I put off replying to messages. I isolate even though I know that's probably making everything worse. What scares me most is not knowing who the real professional version of me even is anymore. Am I actually this quite insecure person? Or is this just burnout and depression warping everything? I don't want to fake confidence. I don't want to perform some version of myself that isn't real. I just want to feel grounded again, confident, capable, authentic at work. If anyone's been through this, losing your work confidence or your sense of who you are in your career and made it back, I'd really love to hear how you did it. This is a great question, a dilemma that everybody goes through, which is why I chose to do it as a video because I know everyone's going through this. So what you're actually going through is, like I said, it's very common and everybody goes through it. And there's actually like a thing, right? It's actually a thing called The True Self, False Self by a guy named, I think his name is David Winnicott, right? David Winnicott. And what he says, particularly with the false self is a defense or kind of mask of behavior that complies with others' expectations. Winnicott thought that in health, a false self was what allowed one to present a polite and matter attitude in public. But he saw more serious emotional problems in patients who seemed unable to feel spontaneous, alive, or real to themselves anywhere in any part of their lives, yet managed to put on successful show of being real. Such patients suffered inwardly from a sense of being empty, dead, or phony. So simply this is what's happening, right? He's saying that there's a true self and a false self. And the false self starts to really become stronger like pretty much right out of high school or right out of university around that time because you're trying to conform to what's being expected of you in any type of way, right? So in your situation, you're doing it for validation. You want to you want to prove that you're competent, you want to prove that you're likable, you want to prove that you're useful. So you do a lot of things that are performative, that can be seen by other people as, oh my God, this person is competent, this person knows what they're doing, this person is likable. Or think of the person who is fresh out of high school, going to university to become a doctor, a lawyer, or something that their parents want them to be, when they want to go do something completely, the opposite direction, but they feel the need to be a doctor, so that they, because their parents want them to. So the further you dig into your false sense of self, the further you dig into what's expected of you by your family or by your society or by your job, the further the separation is between your true self and your false self. And going far enough, you'll eventually feel this sense of being empty, dead, or phony. Or um, in your case, you just crash. Like when it's not there, you just crash. So that is the first thing that you're going through. Okay. So authenticity, another point, a couple points I want to address. So the next point I want to address here is that you want to be authentic at work. Everybody does, but authentic at work is just like another facet of your authenticity that is really just a part. Yeah, it's another facet of your authenticity, like who you are at work, who you are as, let's say you're a parent, who you are as a sibling, who you are as like a child, a parent, a coworker, whoever. Those are all, like that person in all of those roles is like you're authentic in the way you are, and your authenticity will shine in different ways. So who you are as an employee will more or less be the same thing as you are as like a partner, or or as a, let's say, a sibling or a friend, right? So if you're a stand-up guy, if you're a stand-up person at work, you come through, you show up, you're more likely to do all of those things in all of the roles that you play in your life. You show up at work, you're consistent at work, you're more likely to show up and be consistent with your friends, with your loved ones, with your partner, etc., etc., right? So you say here that because of what's been happening to you, you've been starting to pull back. And I get that. Oops, you start to pull back. And I get that. You don't know who you are. You realize something about yourself. And it seems like it hit you like a truck. And you're trying to sort of regroup and to recalibrate who you are. Now, I don't know if this is the best idea for you to do. You even said it through here that you know it's probably making everything worse. And it kind of is. And the reason why it's making everything worse is because action is how we determine how, what we like and what we don't like about ourselves, right? So if I just sit at home all day, eventually, and I like sitting at home, then I'm just going to like sitting at home. But at some point, I might dislike being at home all the time and want to go do something, right? If that makes sense at all. So I'm going to say it one more time. How we feel about ourselves when the action is taken is how we determine whether or not it's authentically you, right? So let's say you crack a joke, it feels forced, and you're like, oh, that joke was lame, that didn't feel right. Now you know that cracking jokes, is it really for you? Or let's say, you know, I think you get the point. I hope you get the point. So yeah, pulling back and stopping everything is not the way to go. My suggestion quickly is to actually continue doing those things and to see how you feel about it. So, for example, you mentioned here a nice Slack reaction. You've been you put off replying to messages. I would reply to those messages. I would continue to network, right? So if you go back to networking and you're there and you're just like, it doesn't feel the same. I think it's a waste of time. I don't know really what it's for. Maybe it's just not for you anymore, right? If you are not replying to messages, you think it's pointless, you're not quite sure, you don't see a purpose, or maybe you do. Like, it all depends on how you feel. So continue doing what you do, and if it doesn't feel like it's really coming from you, and it feels like a phony sense of something that you're doing, that's when I would stop doing it. But if you feel good replying to messages, getting back to people, you're contributing something to them that's helpful to them, and it makes you feel good about yourself, If you crack jokes because you like making people laugh, you like lightening the mood, then I will continue doing that as well. Not because you're trying to prove to anybody, but just because you like doing those things. So this goes on to my next point. The biggest thing that you said here is I become obsessed with proving I'm competent, useful, and likable, right? So everything that you've done is because you're trying to prove that you're something, right? So in order to feel grounded again, I would change that proving I'm competent to doing something because you like feeling competent. So here you would speak up and throw out here you would speak up and throw out ideas, right? And I would argue that, let me just highlight this. So here you would say you would speak up and throw out ideas, and you would do that because you want to prove that you are competent and useful. But now I challenge you to continue to speak up, continue to throw out ideas, but not because you want to prove that you're competent and useful, but because you like feeling competent and useful. I'm assuming that you believe that you are, right? Because in order for you to pull this off authentically, you have to authentically believe that you are a competent person, that you are good at your job, that you enjoy doing what you do, that you like feeling useful, that you are good at being useful, right? So you no longer have to prove that you are competent and useful, and doing these actions to prove it, but rather you do things to because you like feeling competent, because you like feeling useful, right? So that's where that shifts. And then little by little, that's how authenticity is built, big brick by brick, right? So the one thing I would also add when it comes to this is if you don't know whether or not you're going to like something, just ask yourself if you want to try it, right? Because part of growing, part of learning is being challenged. And obviously it's challenged because we don't know if we can do it or not. But if you're presented with a challenge and you're just like, I don't know, if you give it a try, if it's not going to hurt you, if you think you can do it, manage your expectations. If you think you can do it, you don't know if you can, attempt it and then see how you feel about it. If you feel like you want to attempt it because you really feel like you can do it, you really feel like you believe that you can actually pull it off, then do it. If you're just like, I tried it, don't really know if it's for me, then don't. And that's how I would go about doing things um, going forward. So yeah, just to recap, if you want to read more about the whole real self and true self, this person's name is Donald Winnicott, which is here highlighted in my tab. If you want to read about more about the true self and the false self and the sadness and the sadness that you feel, sorry, wrong one, the sadness that you feel when your real self and your true self is further separated due to conformity. Second point is to stop doing things because you want to prove that you're useful and competent. Rather, do things because you like feeling useful and competent, and that will ground you. Also, doing things, going back to your interests and your hobbies is a great way outside of work to go back to being grounded. And also finding out what's important to you, right? So, and what you value. Maybe you value feeling useful. Maybe you value, being a useful contribution, being a useful contributor. Maybe you value being competent. So do things that you value, such as, like I said, contribution and usefulness. And yeah, trial and error. Give it time. Authenticity is built brick by brick. So when you're challenged with something you don't know, that you've never tried or you don't know if you can do, at least try it. See if you can do it. If you can't, then you know. If you can, you still know. Either way you do it or you don't do it, either way you will know whether or not it's for you. But the point is, don't pull back, continue what you do and see how you feel about it, because that is internal validation, right? Seeing the reactions of other people saying, oh wow, this person thinks I'm funny, I want to keep pulling jokes. No, not anymore. If you want to crack jokes because you think they're funny. I think I'm hilarious personally, but I know, but there are funnier people out there. So for you, do something, see if you like it for yourself on the inside, and then just continue to run with it. But that's the important part. Do it because you like it, because you enjoy it, because you like feeling certain things about yourself and you enjoy certain things that you do about yourself. It gives you that sense of like confidence and that sense of self, right? And brick by brick, you'll build your authenticity and you will no longer need you'll no longer need this authentic at work. You'll just be authentic, period. And the authenticity will shine throughout all the facets of your life. Okay? I hope that helps you. What was the name of this user? I hope this helps you. This touch me desu. Oh, desu, is this old boy reference? That would be awesome because Old Boy is one of my favorite movies. But anyways, I hope this helps. And yeah, if anybody out there needs help with anything, like I said, I'm a self-mastery mentor. Check out my website, selfmasteryprotocol.ca. I have tons of articles out there about healing yourself, mastering yourself that I personally have conquered on my own, and I share them with other people. And I'm pretty sure it'll help you out as well. And don't be afraid to reach out. Take care. Have a good one.